this someplace. Oh, there's my order of service.
I think I'm good.
Good morning. I want to start by thanking Sandra for our beautiful gathering music. I know you were chatting, but you probably were hearing some music in the air that sounded more like it belonged at an opera than here at what we frequently have at Westside. And this music was chosen this morning in memory of our very dear friend Dwayne Krager, who has passed away and was one of the world's biggest opera fans. So thank you, Sandra. Well, welcome to Westside Unitarian Universalist Church. My name, for those of you who don't know me, is Ellen Greenwood, and my pronouns are she, her, and hers. And it is definitely my privilege to welcome you to this very special service today as we celebrate Pride. To all of you who are here with us in person, and to those of you joining us on YouTube this morning, and those of you joining us on YouTube at some time in the future, to all of you, we say welcome. We say welcome to your joy, your hope, your pride. We say welcome to your grief, your fear, your anger. And the parts of you that are not yet ready to be seen and heard, welcome to them as well. For we are a people of faith. faith in our expansive welcome, faith in our ability to grow in understanding, faith in the precious gift of our truths, faith in the promise of trying, learning, changing, faith in our capacity to know ourselves and each other more deeply. Welcome to you who are gay, straight, bi, pan, lesbian, queer, questioning, unable to be contained in any word. Welcome to you who are trans, cis, genderqueer, non-binary, intersex, agender, beyond words. Welcome to you who are human. Welcome to you who are loved and who love. Welcome to you who come in search of love. Welcome to this time we spend together. And I have to say that these words of welcome I borrowed and slightly changed from words that were written by Monica Jacobson Tennyson and are on the UUA's worship web. Those of you who are here in person are invited to stay and have coffee and conversation after the service, and especially if you are new, we hope you will let us have a chance to get to know you better. However, after the service today, we also will be having our regular monthly potluck lunch, except today it has been enhanced into our Pride celebration potluck. So please stay. If you came this morning and didn't know there was a potluck, we'll have plenty of food. If you came this morning and you knew somewhere in the recesses of your mind there was a potluck and you forgot, stay. There will be plenty of food. Reverend Carol challenged us to create a rainbow potluck today and to bring a dish that was sort of like a rainbow. And I've already got my eye on a rainbow cheesecake back there. That looks, thanks to Lily. But if your dish is like mine and it just kind of has part of the rainbow in it, that's perfectly fine, because it's really together that we build our rainbow. We do have a few announcements. There are announcements in your order of service. Please read those. That's one way you know what's going on here at Westside. The other way is to read our newsletter that you should be getting by email, and if you're not and you would like to, make sure that Brad knows about that. And also our website will have information, but there are lots of ways to find out what's going on here at Westside, and it always seems to be a lot. We had a special announcement to make, so just come prepared. Gloves are always good, water, and some willingness to put in some work around here. And then also, Bill Benson has a quick announcement for us.
Good morning. Real short, about a year ago, Sabina and I brought some rainbow lanyards and gave them out, and we're back again. And if you're interested, I've got several of these I'm going to give out. There's a little trick. Can you help me put that back? Oh, there it is. I got it. It's not rocket science. One of the issues that has happened is as we hang them on our badge box back there, they are tending to bend the badges a little bit. So here's my trick for this one. It's a little bit different. I want you to just unsnap that, put it in your pocket, forget about it. And another thing about the weight, or about the badge is that we don't want to have to change the way the office makes these badges. So most of you will be able to just take your pin and put it through there, and you're all set. And it'll hopefully stay on front of you there. So if you're interested, I'm going to pass them around and let whoever needs them take them. And if we run out, don't worry about it. There'll be more next week if we need. Are there any questions? Okay.
So if you don't have a rainbow when you come to church on Sundays here, it's not Bill's fault. We are a welcoming congregation, and that means that every day is Pride Day here. There are just some days that we make a point of celebrating, because we're many other things as well. If those are all the announcements, we will shift gears and move into the more thoughtful part of our service, and Reverend Carol will help us with that by inviting our singing bowl to sing for us.
Good morning, everyone. I won't mess with the microphone. I'll just bend my knees. So before I invite the bowl to sound, I'm going to invite Ellen to go ahead and light a candle for Dwayne. This morning in our spiritual practice, first, let me introduce myself. I'm Reverend Carol Bodeau. I am privileged to serve here as minister. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. I'm really happy to see you all today. In spiritual practices this morning, we talked about remembering. And you know, today when we celebrate Pride, it's both about the past and it's about the future. It's about remembering where we were and where we're going, things that have already happened and things that are coming. And we talked this morning about our good friend Dwayne Krager, who passed a week or so ago. Dwayne was a person who lived to see the possibility and the potential in front of us. He kept this attitude of joy and promise. So as I invite the bowl to sound this morning, as it sings for us, I invite you to call into yourself whatever it is that makes you feel able to move forward into new possibility. We're going to be singing a song about change, and it's how do we move forward in the face of change and challenge, but do it in a spirit of celebration and hope and possibility. And we do that today, specifically remembering Dwayne, whose memorial service will be here on Saturday, June 20th at 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
And as Morgan lights our chalice this morning, I have these words to share with you. These are words by Hannah Roberts Villeneuve. People sometimes ask, bring your spirit, tattered and battered by a world. Bring your spirit, tattered and battered by a world that seems insistent on choosing fear and hate. gather up all these things and bring them here to a place where we don't have to shoulder these burdens or celebrate these joys alone. Come, let us worship together. And Morgan is also going to light our community candles. We talked together about what to express concern for this morning and what to celebrate, and we agreed that it was important to share to show our concern by lighting a candle for the numerous, just way too many, once too many, pieces of legislation aimed at harming and even erasing the LGBT community, such as, and Morgan has the whole statement of all this, but such as the governor of our state declaring that this is Nuclear Family Month as opposed to Bride Month, and defining the nuclear family as one husband, one wife, and any biological or adopted or foster children. Just think how many families, straight and gay and whatever, that would be eliminated by that. So we're celebrating Pride. I also saw, and I could not verify exactly what the meaning of this is, but evidently our U.S. government, the U.S. government, has on some list of supposed terrorists, has listed trans people. That's a terrible concern. But our joy is that Pride is happening. There are so many Pride events still taking place. For example, Knoxville Mayor India Kincannon declared June to be Pride Month yet again. And in her social media post, Mayor Kincannon shared that she presented a proclamation of representatives of several LGBTQ plus organizations supporting the dignity and humanity of our family, friends, and neighbors. And for what it's worth, and I think it's worth a lot, frankly, the Knox County Board of Commissioners did vote down the Nuclear Family Proclamation for Knox County, pointing out that such a definition excludes single-parent families, childless families, and many more. And the chairman of the commission pointed out it would exclude her family as well. Pride continues going on. I think just this week there was Sonox Pride, there's Blunt Pride, and I saw that Sweetwater had a Pride parade yesterday, you know? Yeah. And we still have Knox Pride. The Knox Pride Center is active and busy supporting their community. In fact, the whole community. They don't distinguish with resources, and especially their food pantry, and that we will, again, you'll hear this again later, but we are, as a congregation, supporting them, especially this month, by helping their food pantry. And there will still be Pride Fest in October with a parade and the works. So it's not all bad. And with that, I believe Morgan has a story and some.
We're going to sing first. I'm going to pop up and say we're going to sing first.
I didn't put that in my notes.
So I'm going to invite the choir to come up and help lead us in this song. So some of you are going to know this. This is a Jason Shelton song. So choir just spread out. And you all have music. We're singing Love Has Already Won. There's little pieces of paper for those of you who read music. There's little pieces of paper on the chairs. If you don't read music, you don't need the little piece of paper. You can read the words up here. So this is a song that is specifically meant to support us in the work of doing justice, even when things are not necessarily, even when we have things happen and politically we don't like. So we're going to invite you all to sing along as you feel so inclined.
Okay, now we have story time.
Must have had your way.
You're good. All right, so good morning, everyone. If we haven't met, my name's Morgan Ringelspaugh. I use they, them pronouns. Just so we know as well, we have these little pride flags out in the hallway in front of the office. So if you're ever like, what does that flag mean? There's a little description and you can get little pride flags. That made me really happy. I forgot my rainbow today, but I figured I'm gay enough, it's fine. All right, so in preparation for this service, I had been thinking about the word pride. What does it mean to take pride in something or to be proud of something? I'm a very literal person. It's the tism in me. So I did the cliche thing of looking it up in the dictionary. I won't read the definitions to you, but there is a running theme of positivity, confidence, self-esteem. Pride is a good thing until it's inevitably a problem, and then that's hubris, and that's a whole other service. So I've been thinking a lot about the things that make me feel pride, what makes me feel good about being a part of something, whether that's here at Westside or out in the wider life. We've done in years past, in the pre-COVID era, was to have a story for all ages. Children, both in body and spirit, would come up and sit around while we tell a story. And after the story would be shared, we would sing the children back to their classes. Now, the last time I was up here, I brought back the singing the kids to the class. So today, we're going to bring back the story of all ages. But instead of asking you to move around or come up here, I just ask that we settle into our seats, adjust however you need to be comfortable to hear this story. In the order of service, it's called The Squeamish Duck, and the alternative title is also The Duck Pond and the Goose Pond. And this is something I wrote, so if you hate it, don't tell me, okay? Once upon a time, in a place not far from here, in a time where Mother Nature reigned and concrete jungles had yet to encroach, there was a pond. It was your average pond, just like any other, and all the creatures came to congregate here. The deer, the groundhogs, the squirrels, the chipmunks, all came to this watering hole to have a drink. The snakes, lizards, and geckos came by from time to time, and the frogs lived over by that log. There were all kinds of birds in this meadow, too. Robins, sparrows, wrens, a hawk or two were known to stop by. And of course, there were the waterfowl. A community of ducks had lived in the meadow for some time, and occasionally a flock of Canadian geese would stop by. It was within this meadow that we set our scene. Meet Molly the mallard. Miss Molly was an average duck, as you could imagine. She grew up in this meadow, and she knew every creature in it. Miss Molly was quite the social bird, too. Every morning, she would waddle down from her nest and cry, "Hello!" to the squirrels in the tree, and "How do you do?" to the bunnies in the thicket. She bowed her head to the lizards sunning on the rock by the pond and would stop to let the deer cross the path on their way for a morning drink. Once in the pond, Miss Molly was careful not to step on the tadpoles swimming in the shallows. She would dip her head under the water to say good day to the fish and blow bubbles their way. Molly was a nice, sweet, kind, thoughtful duck from sun up to sundown, and that was quite all right with her. One morning, on her way to the pond, Miss Molly saw a duck she'd never seen before, a newcomer here at her pond. As any good mallard duck would do, she preened her feathers and picked away the stray dirt, and she waddled right on over to meet that young gray duck. "Hi," they stammered. Wally the Gadwall introduced themselves, and though a little nervous to be new to the area, was happy to have found a new friend in Miss Molly the mallard. Over the next few days, Wally and Miss Molly picked up a routine, meeting by the log to say how do you do to the frogs and enter the pond together. One day, as Wally was splashing and playing, they wandered a little further than normal. Miss Molly had been in deep conversation with Mark, another mallard, who was responsible for all the meadow's gossip, and she hadn't noticed when Wally had swam away. Not until she heard the honk. You see, the flock of Canadian geese had started frequenting the meadow a few seasons back now, and somehow, somewhere along the way, an unofficial agreement had bloomed between the waterfowl. The mallards, the woods, and the drakes, all of the ducks that is, had kept to their side of the pond, while their northern brethren had kept to their own side. No one could articulate why for sure. Maybe the ground over there better suited their feet to say. It may have been the first time in history of the meadow that a mallard didn't make a single quack in response. Wally the Gadwall stood tall, puffed out their little chest, and boldly declared, "I may not be from around here, but I've seen water before, Miss Molly, and the water on that side of the pond isn't any different than the water on this side of the pond." It was the goose's turn to blush, as the young duck had made some logical points. "I suppose it isn't any different," Gus stammered. "It's just how we've always done things, that's all." Wally looked to Miss Molly, looked to Gus, and then looked right out into the middle distance as if he could see us in the far-off future. With the ever-shrinking natural habitats, the recreational hunting, and the gosh darn microplastics everywhere, don't you think it's a little silly to be fighting over what area of the pond water we're swimming in? That day, things changed in the meadow. Gus the goose and Molly the mallard spread the word. There will be no duck side, no goose side. Everyone would be able to swim wherever their little feet took them. A pond is a pond and water is water. What does it matter which side we're on? Wally the Gadwall was proud to have been of help to this pond, and after a few days, he flew on his way, continuing his migration, looking for the next pond to help. It didn't take long for Miss Molly's pond to lapse back into its usual ways. There was no declaration of who swam on what side, no honks of dismay. In fact, Mark the mallard spread the word that the pond would be a place for all waterfowl to be welcome at any part of the pond. Weeks went by and new hatchlings emerged. They looked around and saw where the ducks mostly swam and saw where the geese stayed. They heard the proclamation of a free pond and saw where their space was to be. Some time passed, and it's just no one has needed to go over there, Miss Molly murmured. Wally looked towards the new generation of waterfowl, splashing in the water, staying close together. Did you ever swim over there, Miss Molly? And you, Gus, how do the children see what is okay if we don't show them? How can we say the waters are free if we aren't showing that they are? The elder birds stared at Wally, unsure of what to say, and were relieved when Wally continued. The children are watching you. They see what you do. The migratory birds that stop here, they see what you do. They hear Mark say we are free, and then they see us staying where we are. We have to show them. We have to actively get out of our comfort zones, Miss Molly. Go over there, swim with the geese. And you, Gus, go over there, swim with the ducks. Do the work to let the hatchlings see. The young Gadwall duck was panting when he finished and stepped down from the rock on which they stood. Wally wasn't sure what else there was to say. They waddled away, hoping they had said enough. As Wally passed a clump of bushes, they heard the leaves rustle, and a small chick emerged from the place they were hiding. "Excuse me, Wally?" a shy voice chirped. Wally turned to see the small chick. Not quite a goose, but not quite a duck. The young waterfowl in front of Wally was still growing, still deciding, still figuring it out. "Wally, I just wanted to thank you. I got scared to say it, but I wanted to swim across the pond. I want to see what's over there. What's it like being a goose or a duck? What does it mean to be a duck?" The young bird's eyes were full of hope and possibility. "Well, my young friend," Wally started, settling down to sit nearer to their new companion, "no one can tell you what it's like. You just have to figure it out for yourself. And until you do, just go swim, buddy. Do what makes you happy. Just go swim." Wally watched the young bird flap its wings for a moment, then waddled over to the pond, walking right between the stunned Miss Molly and Gus. Wally closed their eyes, imagining a world where it didn't matter where you swam, just that you did it. The end. People are working to change the realities of right now, and I think of how far we've come. If we circle back to that definition of pride, it's the positive aspects, the joy that comes from being proud of who you are. And in East Tennessee, it is really hard to embrace queer joy when there is so much institutionalized hatred around us. Tennessee is currently ranked as one of the worst places to exist in for LGBTQ+ rights, which may or may not surprise you. In a recent conversation I had with a family member on the subject of gender-affirming care, I learned that not everyone knew the extent of that the healthcare bans go. For example, even discussing something as puberty blockers, which can allow a questioning youth more time to explore their own identity without the pressure of puberty, can be in violation of state law. Just the conversation can be in violation of state law that went into effect on July 1st, 2023. The Movement Advancement Project is a nonprofit organization that, from their website, quote, works to power progressive movements by providing rigorous research, insight, and communications that help speed equality and opportunity for all. Personally, I found it to be a fantastic reference, complete with citations linking to the actual bills and laws in question when thinking about legal access and rights that are available to LGBTQIA+ individuals in the state of Tennessee. Warning, this gets a little depressing. I want to highlight just a few, and I invite you to read more at mapresearch.org. According to the Movement Advancement Project, the state of Tennessee has explicitly regulated gender by defining sex throughout state law. There is no difference for gender than the one you were born with in state legislature. Unfortunately, this doesn't mean the law doesn't apply to us, gender nonconforming and transgender individuals. It just means that the state will judge us by our genitals instead. In fact, recent legislature was signed into law last month and took effect May 15th. The law effectively deters local level laws that protect minors from conversion therapy in the state of Tennessee. Yeah, big sigh. As it was introduced, HB 754 requires, quote, gender clinics accepting funds from the state to perform gender transition procedures to also perform detransition procedures, and requires reporting of so-called detransition procedures to the Department of Health. Now, as everything is, when you get into reading the actual legislature and definitions, it gets really confusing in the weeds back and forth. But when you do get into this includes conversion therapy, which was defined by the Movement Advancement Project as, quote, a set of harmful, dangerous, and discredited practices that attempt to change a person's sexual orientation or gender identity. Further, the state law states a county or municipality shall not prohibit a parent or legal guardian to consenting to such therapy for their child to, quote, address an inconsistency between the minor's sex and the minor's perceived gender or perceived sex. I feel like most of us in this room know the difference of sex and gender enough to know that it's not perceived sex, it's this is our gender. Conversion therapy is not just legal in the state of Tennessee, local laws cannot prohibit it. The state of Tennessee also bans transgender individuals from using bathrooms and other facilities that are consistent with their gender identity in schools and government buildings. This means if you have a transgender youth who identifies as a girl, they are still going to the boys' bathroom. If you have a trans boy who identifies as a boy, they have to go to the girls' bathroom. Imagine what kind of situation that sets up for them. There are no laws or policies regarding anti-bullying protections for these students. The bright side here is that there are 2 states worse than us. Further, state law prevents the passage or enforcement of local non-discrimination ordinances. So even if your city gets it together and says, we're going to protect these people, state law says, no, you're not. These are just the highlights, and there's more information to be learned. This is just the current state of things as they stand at this moment. When we first started thinking about this service, we thought about doing a legislative update, and sorry, it's so dark, y'all. The Movement Advancement Project gives a score for each state for sexual orientation policy, gender identity policy, and an overall score. Again, I do recommend checking out this website. It's really cool. Out of a combined possible 49 points, Tennessee scored negative 16.5. Yeah. Wow, indeed. This is due to the lack of protections as well as the prohibition on such protections being passed. This is a grim, heavy realization on such a beautiful day, such a celebratory day, and I am sorry for that, but this is the reality that many of us live in. Over this past weekend, I was in San Francisco, California, which feels like the exact opposite. and I took video standing right outside the Castro Theater. There's a couple of different squares that are all rainbow, and there are pride flags hanging from everywhere. And I literally took time to take video and picture to send back home to my kid to say, hey kid, it's not as dark everywhere else. Like, you're allowed to be prideful and not be known as the gay church for it. Like, we're allowed to be loud and okay with ourselves in other places. A few years ago, as a moment of recognition for those killed for simply being their authentic selves, we began reading a list of names curated by the Human Rights Coalition here at Westside. We knew not every individual killed was reported. Not everyone is out, or may have been misgendered in death, or may have been unknown to the larger community. We know that many victims go nameless, or may have been fortunate to not be killed, but were attacked all the same. In a publication from 2021, there was a total of 256 names reported that HRC and other advocates had recorded since they began tracking the violence and to be doing enough by people way more qualified than I am to speak on the subject. I encourage you to seek those out if that's something that calls to you, and then come tell me your recommendations so that I can learn more too. One of the many things we can do as individuals, as well as larger community, is to keep learning, keep listening to those lived experiences of others, and keep uplifting those voices to the wider world. That's the root of who we are, I think, as you use. We are people who listen to one another, who listen for the call of those who need help, and then we go to those people and do what we can. Listen to Wally the Gadwall when he comes for you. Ooh, that sounds like he's killing us. We better be careful. One of the ways that we listen to one another and listen to people in the community is through our justice and generosity partners. This quarter, we are partnering with Knox Pride, a nonprofit organization based in South Knox, known for the Pride Parade that has historically taken place on Gay Street every year, except last year. Their annual Pride Night at Zoo Knoxville is actually tonight, 6 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Check that out if you're so inclined. There is a more pressing need that they have asked for us to provide, and that has been water. I am told just this morning they also need personal hygiene products. This is to go for their food pantry, food and personal supplies for those personal hygiene products. Their food pantry is open 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday, and is one of the very few food pantries that do not require paperwork, ID, or service in return from recipients, meaning increased access to the people who need the food pantry. While, of course, food is always needed at a food pantry, they do need the bottled water, the electrolytes, and now the personal hygiene items. If you are able, you can take that directly to the Knox Pride Center on Chapman Highway, or bring it here and we can coordinate a drop-off. There's enough of us here, we can figure something out. We also, as always, have our QR codes and the boxes at the back of the sanctuary available for your donations. Please give as you are willing and able to do so. Before Reverend Carol introduces our final song, I want to share just one quick story with you about my kid, Anna. Yesterday, I read her the story, or rather played a recording for her that I shared with you earlier, and asked for her opinion. Song.
Thanks, Morgan. So, the song we're going to sing is about change. And I thank you for being our photographer, Bill. That's awesome. So before we sing this song, I want to say something about bathrooms. So I want to tell you what habit or practice I have developed in honor of Wally. So some of you know that this building was built with traditional bathrooms, women's room, men's room. It became clear to us that we really needed to change that because there are many, many, many people who come through our doors who don't identify as either of those or who feel uncomfortable going into the one that they identify with. So we changed our signage. But we're not so unlike ducks and geese, are we? How many of us still would flinch to go, if we identify as a woman, would flinch to go into that other bathroom? Or to use the lock on the door that says, this is occupied, I'm in here right now, you can't come in. So I have made a practice of always using what we used to call the men's room whenever possible. I make a point of going down the hallway and standing at the doors and going in the one that's on the right-hand side. And so as not to freak out somebody else who might identify as male, who's just habitually going to go in there and be absolutely freaked out that the minister, who identifies as a woman, is in there, I use the lock, which tells you that the room is occupied. So, it's a simple thing, but there are lots of ways we can change. We can make simple little changes. Pronouns are a simple little change, but they're so hard. They're so hard. So another practice that I encourage us to make is every time you hear someone misgender someone, don't hesitate to say their pronouns are, right? There are little things we can do. Change is coming. We have a choice whether we choose to be the agents of the pond that's for everybody, or whether we accept that the change around us is just going to reinforce division and separation. So this takes practice. It's not easy, which is why we're going to sing this song. So choir, come on up, because this song is not easy. But y'all gonna learn it. So let's put the second part. Chris, Tremaine, and Baz, how about you guys go over here? All right, there are two parts to this song. The words are not complicated. The first part, we're all gonna learn it. I'm gonna play the notes on the piano so you can all hear it. It's simple. Change is coming. What do we need to imagine? Okay, so everybody sing this part, all right? Okay, let me get some music here. Change doesn't happen instantly. We have to practice it, we have to learn it, and we have to try it out. So here's how it goes. Change is, choir, sing with me. Change is coming. What do we need to imagine? Change is coming. What do we need to imagine? Change is coming. What do we need to imagine? Keep going. Change is coming. What do we need to, one more time. Change is coming. What do we need to imagine? Okay, so that's the first part. Change is coming, folks. Change is coming. What do we need to imagine? What's our job? What can we imagine? Now, the second part is this: to be prepared. You know, I'm scared. To be prepared, yes, I'm scared. How many of us are feeling that way? Like we need to be prepared for something and we're a little scared about what's happening out there. Okay, these things go together, they happen at the same time, but let's practice to be prepared. To be prepared, you know I'm scared. To be prepared, yes I am scared. To be prepared, you know I'm scared. To be prepared, yes I am scared. Okay, now here's where it gets tricky. Imagining what's possible, recognizing change, and imagining what's possible. How many of us have a little inner war going on between that and the fear? right? We are, yes, I'm imagining what I want. I want it to be San Francisco and downtown Knoxville, okay? I live there. It's not all perfect, let me just say. Okay, but we want that. And at the same time, I'm scared to go in what used to be the men's room. It freaking terrifies me and freaks me out a little bit, right? I'm afraid I'm going to get the pronouns wrong. So I'm afraid to even say it. Anybody, like, yes? We both what we're trying to imagine, and we're scared to do the things to get there all at the same time, right? So putting those two things together, which is what we're going to do musically as our musical metaphor, is a challenge. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to sing, this change is coming. Brad, get your clicking ready, because he's going to have to click back and forth. So we're all going to sing this twice through. So we'll say that phrase 4 times. And then, oh, brave people, you all are the lucky ones. You just get to keep doing the old familiar thing. You get to keep doing changes coming. What do I need to imagine? You bold, daring souls over here, you're going to acknowledge the fear for the rest of us. Okay? I'll help you. It'll be okay. Okay. Here we go. Change, you ready? Everybody's going to sing this through. Change is coming. What do we need to imagine? Change is coming. What do we need to, again, do that again. Change is coming. What do we need to imagine? Get ready over there. Is coming. It's a slightly different rhythm. Keep going. To be prepared. And no, I'm scared to be prepared. Yes, I am scared to be is coming. What do we need to imagine? Change is coming. What do scared to be prepared? The pond right now, it's okay. If you feel like holding hands, join hands. And if you feel like holding your own hands, that is okay too. Change is coming. So, change is going to come in the form of legislation. Change is going to come in the form of parades. It's going to come in forms of bathroom signs. Changing the urinals is a big project as far as resources and money goes, but it's simple to walk in the other bathroom. Change is going to come in the form of we can do better. Talk about what we can learn to try harder at. Talk about what we need. Talk about what our beloved queer community needs. Let's actually be the change that we want to see in the world. Everyone. So all together now, we're all going to say, I want you to all say with me as our closing benediction, go Wally. 1, 2, 3. Go Wally. All right, go out in the world to be the Wallies that this world needs. May it be so.